Madison Square Garden, event yesterday, and massive. People trying to get in, begging to get in, cannot get in. Record-breaking attendance, fire, all this stuff that's going on, and the way the news reports on it is wild. But even before we go to that one, Rob, is this Trump speaking? Or is that how they're reacting to it?
So I have MSNBC where they spliced in clips of the 1939 Nazi.
Go to that one. Let's go to that one. Play that one, Rob.
But that jamboree happening right now, you see it there on your screen, in that place is particularly chilling. Because in 1939, more than 20,000 supporters of a different fascist leader, Adolf Hitler, packed the garden for a so-called pro-America rally. A rally where speakers voiced anti-Semitic rhetoric from a stage draped with Nazi banners. When a Jewish protester rushed the stage, the Associated Press reported, quote, instantly, a dozen or more stormtroopers set upon him, knocking him down and beating him as he held his head in his arms. Most of his clothing was torn from his body. Later, he was booked for disorderly conduct. Now, against that backdrop of history, Donald Trump, the man who has threatened to use the military against opponents he calls enemies from within, who has threatened to use the troops to quell what he says are lawless cities, and to use those troops to carry out mass deportations of immigrants, is once again turning Madison Square Garden into a staging ground for extremism.
Oh. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine how to spin it? In the same arena that Joe Frazier Ali and the greatest comeback, Donald Trump, you say Nazi? Dennis, how do you process how MSNBC, presents what happened last night?
I'll tell you how. As I mentioned earlier, my field of study, I was one of 7 students in all of Columbia University to major in what was called communist affairs. It was, tens of, 10,
you
20.
majored in communist affairs?
Yes, that's right. I was at the Russian Institute at the School of International Affairs. Learned Russian, went to communist countries every year. And I wanted to understand the enemy. That was basically what it was. I learned Russian to read Pravda, not to be able to converse or read Dostoevsky. And so I know the left very, very well. And the first use of this terminology was from Stalin. Stalin called Trotsky a fascist. Trotsky, with Lenin, founded the Bolshevik Party, not Stalin. Stalin was one of the early leaders, but the founders were Lenin and Trotsky. Trotsky was the head of the Red Army in the civil war that followed the Russian Revolution. You can't get more communist than Trotsky. But he became an opponent of Stalin after Lenin's death, and he fled the Soviet Union, fled to Mexico, and Stalin sent assassins to kill him with an ice pick, which was done in Mexico. He called Trotsky a fascist. So every one of your listeners needs to understand this. All leftists, not liberals, I make that distinction every time I speak. All leftists since Lenin, since Stalin, have done the exact same thing. They call their opponents fascists. There is no exception. That is what they do. They call them the worst possible names. I'll give you one other law about the left, and that is there is no example of the left being in power, whether in a country or at a university, and allowing dissent. There is no example. And I have my favorite is Prime Minister Ardern, Jacinda Ardern of New Zealand. I have played this on my show. You should definitely use this. It's easy to find the clip. During the lockdowns, she said to her people, if you do not hear it from the government, it is not true. Do you know who said that? Yes. And by the way, guess where she is now? Harvard. She's teaching at Harvard. She is a kindred spirit to Harvard. Harvard, whose motto is Veritas, which means truth, but it's a joke. It means nothing to any left-wing group. Truth is, what is the Soviet communist newspaper that I learned Russian to read? Pravda. Pravda means truth. Truth in the left-wing world is what they say it is. It has no objective reality. The Oregon Education Department announced the idea that math has a correct answer is white supremacy.
That is wild to be thinking that.
Dennis.
That is wild to be thinking that. I want to play a couple other clips here while we're on this. Trust me, we're going to come back. Rob, maybe play Musk, Dana, and a Trump, and then we'll go back to the next part. Go for it.
People out there who need to vote for President Trump. Okay, so this is a real battle. This is a real election battle. So you need to get friends and family to vote. Make sure they vote early. This is important. We're going to be putting up a scorecard, okay? An early vote scorecard, state by state, county by county. What is the scorecard? Vote early. Vote now.
He's rallying people. What did Dana say, Rob? He's rallying people. Go ahead.
Proven he loves this country so much, he's literally put his life on the line for it. What has the other candidate proven? She can get your party's nomination without even facing voters. What else? What else can she offer the American people other than vague promises and no plan? She talks a lot about the need for change and her hope for the future. Hope and change. Does that sound familiar?
Weird.
She can use the old Obama playbook, but she's not Obama, and she is no agent of change. She is the sitting vice president of the United States right now. What she hopes is voters will focus on the future because she doesn't want us looking at the last 4 years to see what we really need to change.
Rob,
we need change.
Go to a clip with Trump. Let's see what. Go for it.
I know many of them. It's just this amorphous group of people. But they're smart and they're vicious. And we have to defeat them. And when I say the enemy from within, the other side goes crazy. Becomes a sound of, oh, how can he say? No, they've done very bad things to this country. They are indeed the enemy from within. But this is who we're fighting. What they've said, even that enemy too, and they're really the enemy. They're the enemy of the people, the press. They said one thing about me that I consider a great compliment. They said, this guy is the most consistent person we've ever seen.
We're watching a rally from Madison Square Garden.
That is so wild. By the way, the impact of it right now when you're seeing this, Tom, you know, and we're seeing all the data, all the polls, everything that's showing after MSG. We're looking at, you know, after Joe, after everything. Every poll is now favoring Trump, even the majority, like we're talking national, what it's going to look like. Where are people at right now, Tom, with what's going to happen with the election?
The swing states are showing the incremental movement in the last polls toward Trump or further toward Trump.
Wow.
Arizona and Georgia look like right now that, barring a real mathematical oddity, I won't use other words, that they're probably there. And you're also seeing in the media almost like taking a step back just a bit to temper the blow. And you're also seeing a lot of coping mechanism. But I'll tell you what we're seeing right now is you're even seeing New Hampshire, which should be a 6.5 to 8 point victory in a typical year with typical candidates. She should win that 6.5 to 8 points. Right now, it's looking like 1.5 point, and it's actually inside what they call the margin of error, which is rather shocking. But God bless those people of New Hampshire and their live free or die license plate, my favorite license plate in the U.S. That's where it's stacking up. And so we're seeing these things. And interestingly enough, if you look at the margin in New York and the margin in California, it's closer. Trump is going to win neither state, but it's much closer than it's been, which is why the national popular vote looks razor thin. And I believe right now that there is a very real non-hyperbole here, a very real mathematical chance that he will win the popular vote. Because when you look at the polls and you look at the excitement that's in New York and in, look at 98,000 people were in and around Madison Square Garden. That's shocking. That's absolutely shocking. And so the popular vote is in play. And so I hope that that's where it goes, because it kind of takes the bullet out of the gun to say, well, you won it because the Electoral College is so flawed. I want to see the popular vote won.
Yeah, I mean, if you folks, if you're watching this, if you go to
people can,
folks, if you go to vtnews.ai, that was very helpful, Tom. If you go to vtnews.ai, you'll notice this here. Trump up 1.4. Okay, then if you go to Arizona, pretty much on everybody now, go up a little lower so people can see it. CBS has Trump up in Arizona. Bloomberg tie. You go to Georgia, everybody, including Atlas Intel, Bloomberg, everyone's got Trump. Go to Michigan. Flipped. Even we have Harris ahead. And you got the only Atlas Intel is the one that's got Trump up 3. Bloomberg's got him down. Rasmussen is even. Nevada, again, Bloomberg and what is it? Rasmussen's got him up. Go to North Carolina. Everything. Pennsylvania. Only one that's Harris is Bloomberg. Go to Wisconsin. Okay. Dennis, what are the chances by 7:30, 8 o'clock on November 5th, everything's going to be over with and everyone's reacting to the fact that Trump won? Or do you think it's going to be one of those things that we're going to have to go 5, 10, 15 days?
What the Democrats have done to Election Day is part of my thesis that everything the left touches, it destroys. They destroyed Election Day. It was such a noble day in American history. Unless you had reason to be out of town, you voted on Election Day. You'd go with your parents to the booth. It was a beautiful ritual in American life. They destroyed Election Day. It's now election month. In some cases, election fortnight. Or no, that would be more than a month. That would be less than a month. Election 2 months. And so also we knew in the day of paper ballots, with very rare exceptions, we knew within hours of polls closing who won. Not any longer. We're now told in advance, it may take days till we know. Why did we go? And by the way, this is not a rhetorical question. I would love an answer. Why do we go to a less reliable, less speedy outcome with machines than we had with paper ballots? Do you know the answer to that question?
I mean, I can give you what I think the reason is for.
Go ahead.
Okay, I would say it's easier to manipulate.
Okay,
it's hard for accountability.
Fine. I didn't know what you would say.
No, it's tougher for accountability.
There is no other possible answer.
Right.
That's right. You can manipulate paper ballots like you can manipulate machines.
Right.
That's
period.
The easiest argument is, why do you check my ID when I go to the airport, TSA?
Yeah.
For the safety of everybody else. But how many states don't even require checking an ID? I mean, the numbers you look at, Rob, you know the numbers. I think we've
16 people?
We've reported on this so many times that they don't need a photo ID when you go in voting. No, I mean, look, that argument is out the window. This is why Tom and I were speaking earlier today, and I said, Tom, what states, there's no way, we already know as of day one who's going to win. There's no one winning on the other side. Like, there is no, this is not the 1980, was it 84 or 88? Mondale, which one? It's 88, right? When it's Minnesota's the only one that he loses.
Mondale, 84, yeah.
This is not 1988, right? This is not what you're saying that's going to be an 88 type of thing that 84. Trump could win. 84, where he can win. Well, what is it? 49 out of 50
49
states.
to 1. The only
You're
state
not
that he
there.
won is Minnesota.
Tom, that's not where you are.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Do you think there could be a landslide type of a moment?
Yes, I do. I believe that there are, first of all, New Hampshire, Virginia, New Mexico, and Minnesota, oddly, there have been very real steady movements. And would it surprise me for those? What we're going to see by 9 o'clock, New Hampshire is going to announce. We're going to know New Hampshire, right? Because there's 11 people live there. So we're going to be able to, right? We're going to be able to see it. And if it's really close, to me, that is going to be a sign. And so I'm seeing it, but I'm seeing these other states that I just listed that are getting closer, and they're
Vinny,
now within
think?
margin of errors.
I mean, go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
I think 350 is possible. Now, I'm not out there, putting money on it, but that you're on the edge of mandate. I think the minute you touch 300 and you win the popular vote by 1 vote, you can argue the will of the people on a popular basis and the Electoral College, regardless of what these people want to say about it, you're elected.
So does it matter? Because those type of stats, Tom, and I mean, VTnews.ai, I mean, that's up to date. That's in the moment. That's right now. That's happening right now. That kind of worries me, Dennis, because let's not forget who we're talking about. We're talking about the left. Everything they touch, they destroy. We're talking about these Democrats. They're losing. They know that they're losing. They know it's, they see the shift. It's not like nothing's working. That is, no celebrities are working, from Beyonce to Usher to, I think Jesus Christ wouldn't be able to help them. The Nazi fascist BS story, none of that is hitting. If they've realized, Dennis, that they're not going to win, do you think that they're capable of something bigger? I've heard this on MSNBC, the same network, Black Swan event, something. Do you think that they're capable, Dennis, of doing something that would, besides the voting in 2 weeks results, do you think that they're capable of anything?
So capable, you don't mean morally capable. You mean literally just can they maneuver? Can they maneuver?
Something? Yes.
Well, so my colleague wrote a book years ago. If it's not close, they can't cheat. That was the name. That was the name of the book.
Was that Hugh? Hugh Hewitt?
Yeah, Hugh Hewitt. Hugh Hewitt wrote that, and it's and he's a moderate conservative. This is not a fire breathing conservative, but it is true. I don't know what will happen. I just want to say, because I feel compelled to say it, that aside from not knowing the future and knowing, we must understand, they feel morally okay with cheating. This is critical. If I believed Kamala Harris were a Hitler, I would cheat. Mm-hmm. You are not morally bound to stop Hitler from gaining power in a country.
Great point.
So you can't say, by the way, I've argued this for years. They keep saying he's a fascist. Then they're morally bound to cheat. You can't have it both ways. Oh, he's a Nazi, but I won't do anything to stop him from winning. That's not possible. So one must understand, for the left, it is a moral good to cheat. There's no moral ambiguity involved in doing that.
Very interesting. On the way to put it, that if you believe that, why wouldn't you go all the way?
I had to do it. We had to do it.
You have to do it.
Yeah, it's Hitler.
You're Thomas Paine, and you're at Revolutionary War. There's that which me must do, and there is that which me must do.
Well, let me just address the Hitler thing and why I think Trump's going to win, and I think it's going to be a pretty one-sided victory. The whole concept of being a Nazi and Hitler has officially been cheapened. It's watered down. It is a meaningless, useless word, just like the word racist these days. I would know this because I fell for it a few times. All right. I mean, back in the day, I've seen you say something like this before, where I think Hubert Humphrey called Nixon a Hitler back in the day. Barry Goldwater was called a fascist Hitler. Things were going. Kurt Vonnegut called George Bush Hitler. Up to this day, Hillary Clinton said this rally at Madison Square Garden was just a Nazi rally. The problem is, if you look at the rally, there's a bunch of black people, there's a bunch of Jewish people, there's Latino people, there's women, there's all shapes and sizes. It didn't look like a white power rally to me, but that's just me using my eyes. Why want to use that? But everything's meaningless these days. All these words are sort of meaningless. Racist, Nazi, a man, woman, what? They've all lost their meaning. But what's going to happen right now with Trump and Kamala, in my opinion, you guys let me know, Kamala had her sugar high. 2 months ago, Kamala became the favorite. What?
Yeah.
And reality set in because you said something like she's vapid, meaning meaningless. Well, the data's kind of on your side because the more she talks over the last month, the more have we gotten to know her, people start to like her less. And at least they know that Trump is consistent. They know what he stands for. Listen, here's a little newsflash from my liberal left friends out there. We all know he's kind of crazy. We all know he's kind of an asshole. But they want an asshole. Because do you want a nice guy who loses or do you want an asshole who wins? And we want America to win again. So what's going to happen is if you check the Vegas odds, he's officially up 63 to 65% to her 35%. That's not it, Rob. The numbers are not going in her favor. Here's my last point. A month ago, there it is. A month ago, it was a campaign of joy and opportunity. Now it's Trump is Hitler. Now she has nothing to run on. So all she could do is say vote against Hitler.
Yeah.
And it's not working.
By the way, there was a Jewish girl, Rob, that was at the event. If you can play this clip, and Michael Rappaport, if you can play those two. There was a Jewish girl that, do you know which one I'm talking about, Rob? I think you have that one.
Yes, give me 1 second.
Yeah, there was a Jewish girl at the event who gets out there and says, wait a minute, everybody that's saying, to the point that even Elon Musk retweeted it. This is the one. That's the one right there. Here's what she said.
Is she single at him?
Well, let's see. Maybe by
I just got back from Donald Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden. I'm a Jewish New York Republican, and I have seen the mainstream media calling this a Nazi rally. And that couldn't be further from the truth. There were so many Jews there, just like myself. There was Israeli flags, and nearly every single speaker talked about their commitment to upholding the relationship between U.S. and Israel. Not to mention all the Latinos for Trump, gays for Trump, and nearly every other group that would have never been allowed in if this was actually a Nazi rally. Kamala Harris could literally bring Adolf Hitler on her stage, and the mainstream media still wouldn't call it a Nazi rally. Their lies are futile. Trump is winning this election in 9 days. Make sure you get out, vote early, and vote for Donald Trump.
So we were just at Mar-a-Lago. It was, so how many Jews Israel was there? It was like, I went up to some Jewish people, the guy that sang Hatikva on stage. I was like, take it down a notch, guy. We're in America here. But there's a lot of Jews that support Trump. But the reality is, you said, I think 2/3 of Jews still support the Democratic Party. Why is it? Because I'm getting a lot of hate from Jewish friends of mine, like, who are you these days? I'm the one that told this guy, Michael Rappaport here, that I see him voting for Trump. And he's like, what? Pick Dick Trump? I go, I guarantee you vote for Trump. Because we've seen the left go so crazy. Why are they so nuts on the far, far left?
So are you asking why Jews vote left?
Yes,
Yeah,
but
okay.
then,
So
yeah.
this is most of my speaking is to non-Jews, and especially to Christians. Not all non-Jews are Christians, so I'm making the distinction. And that's the most common question I've probably gotten all of my life. Why did Jews vote left? It's a perfectly legitimate question. I could devote the rest of the hour to that, and I won't. I will only say the following. First, it is critical to understand Orthodox Jews are overwhelmingly conservative.
Yes.
Okay? The Jews who believe in the Torah are a minority of Jews, but that minority is overwhelmingly conservative in its politics, in its values, etc. So that's critical to understand. Also, I try to explain to my large non-Jewish audience, if a Christian stops believing in Christ, he's not called a Christian. But if a Jew stops believing in the Torah, or even God, he's still called a Jew. We're stuck with everyone, no matter what their views. People say George Soros is a Jew. George Soros is as Jewish as this bottle of water, okay? But because he had Jewish parents, or one Jewish parent, I don't know what the case, so he's called a Jew. But he acknowledges plays no role in his identity, none. He doesn't care about Judaism. He doesn't care about the Torah. He doesn't care about Israel. He doesn't care about the Jewish people. And by the way, he's free to have that. But we Jews are stuck with every Soros and every Trotsky as if they're Jews. And whereas Christians luck out. You don't believe in Christianity, you ain't a Christian. So on 1/3 comment, when Jews leave Judaism, they don't leave religion. They adopt secular religions. As I say about, and I've written books and books, my latest Torah commentary, the book of Numbers, just came out this week, called The Rational Bible. And so I'm pretty aware of Jewish life. When Jews stop believing in Judaism, they don't stop believing in religion. They adopt a secular religion. Environmentalism, socialism, Marxism, feminism. You name the ism, except for Nazism, and Jews, massive numbers of Jews who leave Judaism believe in it. And so that's, in a nutshell, the three top reasons.
Wow, isn't that the same for all people, though?
Yes, that is not as much. Jews are particularly religion-oriented. Jews who leave Judaism still think they have some divine role or non-divine role, secular role to play in saving the world. And that's the reason they speak about repair the world. Tikkun olam, there is their motto, which is a lovely motto, except the Hebrew originally is Tikkun olam b'malchut Shaddai, repairing the world under the kingdom of God. They dropped kingdom of God.
So what's
they Dennis, have repair the world without God.
What's your advice to Jews these days that are just still refusing to even consider voting for Trump?
I have no advice. I mean, I would ask them this: are you aware? Does it not bother you that the Democrats, and I mean all the Democrats, with almost no exception, believe that men who say they are women can be in women's prisons, can be in women's shelters, can play against women in women's sports? Does that bother you? I'm just curious. Do you? I would ask that do you have any cognitive dissonance?
Yeah, but he's a threat to democracy, is what they would say.
Yeah, but they don't have any basis for it. He was president for 4 years. We had more democracy than under Joe Biden, who says, I will allow you billions of dollars of college debt. I will erase it. And the Supreme Court and other courts say, oh, you're not allowed to do that. He says, I ignore them. The threat to democracy, which party colludes with big tech to suppress dissent? The Republican or the Democratic Party?
Democrat.
Yes, exactly.
By the way, what is weird about this whole thing is that she is so cornered. On 1 minute, he's getting the Ackmans of the world. He's getting all these people that would have never voted for him that are saying, hey, man, I'm voting for Trump. And they're Jews. And they're Democrats. Yeah. And then on the other side, he's getting Muslims to get up on stage and endorse him because they're convinced he's going to stop war. Rob, if you can play this clip. How much worse can it get for Kamala?
More.
Is it Michigan?
As the president said, we just had a positive meeting with President Trump. We as Muslims stand with President Trump because he promises peace. He promises peace, not war. We are supporting Donald Trump because he promised to end war in the Middle East and Ukraine.
Good. This guy seems pretty reasonable. I don't know who he is.
The bloodshed has to stop all over the world. And I think this man can make that happen.
Wow. So that's the part, Vinny. So you're on 1 minute. I mean, these are the types of opponents you never want to face. Because Rogan said something when he was talking about what it was like. You know, it's like this guy sat through 3 hours, didn't need to go to the bathroom. We just went through it, the amount of energy. And by the way, he's 3 hours late to his Michigan event because of the podcast. Gets on the plane, Austin, flies to Michigan, goes to Michigan, gives the event, then is going to Madison Square Garden to do the event over there and entertain all the folks that are over there, whatever else he's doing throughout the day, interviews and all this other stuff. And every time you turn on, hey, Trump's on the phone call, Trump's calling somebody. That is a annoying opponent, an intimidating opponent to go up against. No wonder they're going through what they're going through today. Election night is 8 days away. The event is such a hot commodity right now. No joke. I'm at Shops eating Saturday night. The valet guy comes and says, hey, man, can I get 2 tickets? I'm trying to buy. I had to get his number. I'm like, I got my family. I'm trying to get in the car. I go to the house, letters sitting in front of the house. A neighbor says, hey, Pat, I just bought a house in this area. I was trying to buy 2 super VIP tickets. Is there anywhere we can get letters? Everybody's getting, you got a message on Monect of a guy that wants 2 super VIP. Guys, just so you know, the elite tickets sold, gone. The super VIPs oversold. If you gave us $40,000 a ticket right now, we can't sell it to you because it's capacity. I think we have 7 tickets of VIP left. I think we have 12 tickets of the premium left. And I think we have less than 300 tickets of the general left. Once it sells out, it's done. Just so everybody knows. And if you don't know what this event is, Rob, we have, at this point, people have probably seen the video. I don't know if I want to play the video or not. But if you want to kind of play it, and we'll go to the second half of the video. We just bought a building, 11 acres. We're going to have a great time at this building. We're going to have a bunch of people coming down here. That'll be with us. Jorge Masvidal. I think Little Pump is coming. I think Mike Chandler's going to be there. Candace. I think we have Emily
Dave
Austin
Smith.
that's going to be there. Emily Austin's going to be there. I think we got Vince, Vince will be there. Vince Ellison will be there. We got a big lineup. Francis, Sammy, a bunch of people that you're going to know. Ryan Montgomery, a bunch of them are going to be there that night. We will start at 6 p.m. Gates will open. A lot of you guys will go to the Inner Miami. You'll get in a shuttle. It'll escort you over to us for security reasons. We're getting everybody to be secured. And then when you come here from 6 p.m. till 2 o'clock in the morning, we'll be together and we'll be live on the podcast. I have a feeling it's going to be the biggest live podcast worldwide on YouTube. that will be broadcasting. And if you haven't yet bought a ticket for yourself, bring your family, bring your relatives, bring your peers. Let's spend that night together. Who knows how the results are going to be? Whatever it's going to be, we'll be talking about a lot of issues on what will happen post-election. So November 5th, go to $59.90 live, buy your ticket before it sells out, and don't connect and say, Pat, is there any way I can get a ticket? We can't sell you more because it's a number that we reach, and I know we can't sell you anything else. And I'm telling you, I'm getting a message right now, left and right. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.